Hello, Emily Weiniger here with No Need for Gluten, a blog about living gluten-free. Last time I talked about, no surprise, food, but I talked about budgeting. I looked at how much money it would cost you if you adopted a gluten-free lifestyle, whether by medical necessity or choice. My roommate currently is gluten sensitive and therefore cannot have any foods with gluten as well as some other allergies. She was kind enough to give me her grocery bill, which I then compared against my own, and I broke down how much it's going to cost you to go gluten-free. I looked at individual substitute items such as pastas and macaroni and cheeses and soups that you would get if you were gluten-free and compared it to the regular options for anyone else that doesn't have food allergies. I also looked at what kind of categories of food you're going to spend more money on. I looked at, meats and cheeses and veggies and produce and fruits and anything you could think of, and we covered it. If you want to check that out, it's on my page. Just scroll down and I'm sure you'll find it right away. Today we're going to continue the talk about food. It's going to be a little different, but we're still going to keep talking about food. But before I tell you what exactly I'm going to talk about, I'm going to walk down memory lane with you. 3 years ago, when I started at Arizona State University, I was living at Barrett Honors College. I, like all freshmen, was required to live there and also to buy a meal plan. We, not to brag, had the best meal plan on Arizona State University's campus, but there were some issues with it that I later discovered. Turns out that one of my suitemates, who I didn't know before college, named Angela, had celiac disease. Now, I'll be honest, before I came to Arizona, I had no idea there was people that couldn't have gluten. I didn't even know what gluten meant, if you asked me. So I was that person that would be like, so Angela, what do you eat? Can you eat this? Can you eat that? Can you eat this? Can you eat that? And then one day, it hit me. We have a dining hall in which we are required to eat at, and yet, what do people with celiac disease eat in such places? So I asked her, Angela, what do you eat at the dining hall? And she answered me, I have two options. She could essentially eat the fresh veggies that made up the salad bar, but had to be mindful and wary of trying the dressing just in case there was hidden gluten in it, or she could have a made-to-order pizza. That was it. Literally the only two options that she found at our dining hall. Since then, I'm sure Arizona's adopted new policies and kind of revamped their menu since there is a growing population of people with food allergies. I don't know because I don't live on campus anymore, but needless to say, the campus dining room talk is back. I was looking up stuff to talk about on my blog, and I recently came across an article on Celiac.com. It turns out that there was a recent federal civil rights settlement between the Department of Justice and Lesley University. It turns out that Lesley University didn't think that it was necessary to adopt a gluten-free menu for students that had such food allergies. They thought that they could do the let's make one dinner meal a day, one lunch meal, one breakfast, and everyone can eat it. It's not that easy, not with the food allergies today. The settlement required Lesley to continually provide students with gluten-free dining options as well as pay $50,000. Since this happened, a lot of schools have started looking at what kind of options they provide their own students. Schools that include University of Massachusetts Boston, Boston University, Tufts University, Harvard University. Before I continue, I bet you're wondering, what exactly did they get a federal civil rights suit for? It turns out that people living with celiac disease are protected under the Americans with Disability Act. That were the grounds that they were able to sue Lesley University and win upon. So, if you have food allergies, just know that you have a little bit of power, that you are not helpless, and that people are here to help you live as fulfilling as of a life as you can. Some options of schools that are revamping their menus is Tufts, like I mentioned, and I'm going to kind of go over what they're doing as well as what Harvard is doing as well. Turns out that at Tufts, they're going to have a freezer fridge selection that only has gluten-free options for students, and then those students that need those options are going to have a key to access those locked storage units to get their gluten-free menu items. Another option that they're looking at is having dietitians on staff to help talk about exactly what to eat to get your proper nutritional intake on food. Again, really interesting story. If you want to check it out, it's on Celiac.com, or you can go to Boston Globe, which the original article was on. Again, this is Emily with No Need for Gluten. I hope you keep tuning in so you can get celiac and gluten-free updates from me the most you can. Have a good one.